2017 was such a good year for video games. So good that there are only a few games that I didn't like. I wasn't able to make a top 10, only a top 5. But there were a few bad games I heard that I did not play or get to, like Life of Black Tiger or whatever the fuck that was earlier this year. Um there was a Power Rangers game that came out in January that I heard was really bad. Um, Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 I heard was a bad game. But most of all, the biggest hate was for Star Wars Battlefront 2 and how intrusive the microtransactions were to progress. That's bad. And even though I never played it or haven't played it yet, I know that that's bad. That's a bad game just because of how intrusive the microtransactions are, despite having a longer campaign than the previous one. So, based on what I played alone, which by the way, the dishonorable mention does go to Star Wars Battlefront 2, here are my top 5 least favorite games of 2017. Number 5. I'm sorry that I don't have any video recordings for this game, as I played this for a short time on Xbox One, which would have been a real bitch to copy to USB to edit into this video. Anyway, Torment Tides of Numenera isn't a bad game per se. I know a lot of people enjoy this. A lot of people are going to be surprised that this is on the list. But this game is so boring. The game is literally 1% combat, 99% walking around and reading endless lines of dialogue to even understand what's going on. Every time I want to buy something from a merchant, he brings up his life story and the lines of text take up the whole screen like 5 different fucking times. And that's the real problem I have with Tides of Numenera. It didn't feel like I was playing a game. It felt like I was playing a book. A book with a painfully boring amount of irrelevant text. Reading an entire NPC's conversation with you could take as long as half an hour. Why the fuck? Why couldn't it just be more like Wasteland 2 and simply tell me what I need to know? The game may not have a bad story, but the way it is told is awful. What's the purpose of life? The game oh so ambitiously asks me around the goddamn clock. I'll tell you what life is. You wake up, go to work, go home, eat, brush your teeth, and go to sleep. Rinse and repeat, hang out with friends on your day off. That's life. It's whatever you make of it. Enough of this whole pseudo-philosophical bullshit. Moving on. There were good solid horror games this year, like The Evil Within 2 and Resident Evil 7. And then there were not so good ones, like what you see here. The first Outlast was a run and hide simulator. Sure, it wasn't perfect, but it was still a well-designed and intense horror game. Outlast 2 is a running simulator with hardly any hiding and with no sense of direction on where to run or escape to. The terrible design and lack of proper direction of where to escape ruins any enjoyment to be had with the game, since that's all it really is. Also, your battery life is way too short, often dying within 2 minutes when using night vision in order to even see most of the time. And your guy doesn't run fast far enough before getting exhausted and outrun by whoever is chasing you. And what the hell is this? I open a random death door with no clue that it was a bad place to enter. The game is too hard, in the worst possible way. It's just cheap. The whole fucking thing is just cheap. There are a couple good scares here and there, but most of it is just pure frustration. Earns a solid spot in the shit list. Aw man, someone clogged up the women's bathroom again. Number 3. There's not much to say about Mass Effect Andromeda that people don't already know. It simply sucks. The story wasn't exciting, the characters weren't memorable, it was stripped of most of its customization and squad mate control from the previous entries, but most of all, the game was just borderline unplayable at times. Easily one of the buggiest games of the year. And in a series as prominent and well regarded as Mass Effect? Well, it just ultimately hurt the reviews and sales even more for Andromeda, making it possibly the biggest disappointment of 2017, and thus one of the worst games of 2017 as well. I don't think I've ever played a bigger fall of quality in comparison to previous predecessors than Mass Effect Andromeda. It wasn't just bad, it was embarrassing to watch, and even more embarrassing to play. The other 3 games were like 9 out of 10s. This one's like a fucking 4 at most. Number 2. For Honor had a really awesome concept, an all-out war between 3 historical fighters, the Knights, Vikings, and Samurai. The execution of making the game, however, was horrendously bad. Thanks to Ubisoft, the emperors of conducting crap, the 6-hour-long campaign consisted of really fucked up bugs, American accents during a period before America was even formed,
Should probably have waited for backup.
aka bad voice acting, and the story itself just made no sense. The now almost dead multiplayer is incredibly unbalanced, and the few people who are still dedicated to it are the same cheap, salty motherfuckers the game has had since launch. I got no appreciation from this game at all. The interesting combat system was absolutely ruined by people ganking and cheesing the mechanics and balancing issues. It has a terrible community. And look at that season pass. $40 for a few new character skins, emotes, and one-time use loot boxes. No new game modes, no new maps, or anything of gameplay substance. Literally $40 thrown away for useless garbage. What a fucking scam!
This place is a dump.
Number 1. And so, here we are. If you've watched my YouTube reviews on a regular basis, you probably saw this one coming. Road Rage is objectively the worst video game of 2017. Think Big Rigs bad, Superman 64 bad, Ride to Hell bad. It's right up there as one of the most disgraceful piles of puke that any game company ever regurgitated. And if you don't think Road Rage is the worst game of the year, you've probably never tried it. You've probably never even heard of it. Lucky son of a bitch. People thought there was a small chance this could be the bright light to bring back the long-lost but beloved Road Rash series. The only marketing for this game was a dirty fucking lie. I paid $30 for a goddamn gaming miscarriage that somehow still survived and saw the light of day. I mean, everything about this game is either so underdeveloped, bare bones, or downright poorly implemented or executed. There's almost nothing good about it at all. It was insultingly abysmal, not worth it, even for free. I wouldn't even pay someone to play this fucking garbage. Road Rage might actually be the worst game of this generation. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. That's my top 5 worst games of 2017. Do you agree? Is there 1 or 2 games on there that you didn't think were that bad? What's your least favorite game of 2017? Anyway, guys, coming up next is my top 10 best games of 2017. Yeah, that's right. This year was so good that I actually can make a top 10. Yeah. Stay tuned, and thank you very much for watching.
The Gamer Gods!